I think there's a reasonable chance that Trump just wins outright in November 2024. And human nature being what it is, a lot of people will talk themselves into the fact that, well, okay, maybe it won't be so bad. And you make the opposite argument in this book, which is like, no, it's going to be terrible, and here's exactly why. And you did it with very specific detail, which I found impressive and scary. So help paint a picture for listeners. Let's say Trump comes into office 2025. What comes next?
Well, a couple of things really caught me off guard, and how candid former advisors of Trump were and willing to use their names in this book on the record. I mean, a number of former intelligence officials who I spoke to warned that they felt like in a second term, the ex-president would use America's spy community and spy agencies to exact revenge against political rivals. I find this to be incredibly likely, because even when I was in the administration, Trump asked White House Chief of Staff John Kelly if he could wiretap the phones of White House staff because he was worried about them leaking against him. He wanted to politicize the intelligence community. And in the second term, I had a number of current and former officials warn me that he would use the FISA powers, which is essentially the tool that allows a president in extreme circumstances with judicial approval to listen to civilian conversations in the United States. He would use those powers against domestic political adversaries. And that was a real concern. But the worry about weaponization of government went even deeper than that, Andrew, especially when it was the Justice Department that came up. Current and former FBI officials and DOJ officials predicted that he would form special counsels to prosecute political rivals, and they anticipate him fully gutting the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I mean, we're talking about institutions that Americans rely on to protect them against criminals, terrorists, foreign nation states being hijacked by a White House to exact revenge. And while I was writing this, Andrew, even I felt like some of the language was extreme. And then Donald Trump himself came out about 2 months ago and basically said the theme of his reelection effort would be retribution. He said, I am your retribution. I am your revenge. So this notion of coming back into office and weaponizing the federal government is something that is a front and center priority to him. And I heard that again and again across departments and agencies, how he would weaponize DHS and DOD and the Department of Education. I'll give you one more example, Andrew. The former chief of staff to the Department of Education, Trump's handpicked person to be chief of staff of the Department of Education, said that if he's reelected, he'll implement a policy he really wanted to implement in the first term, which was to kick all immigrant children out of public schools. What am I saying by that? There's millions of undocumented people in the United States. They have children in public schools. An executive order was drafted in the first term to cut off all federal funds to any public school where there was undocumented children, and to kick them out if they wanted to get money. In fact, he called this the cockroach that wouldn't die. That's what the chief of staff at Trump's Department of Education called it. And he said in the second term, they'll do it.
Hey, YouTube. Glad you're enjoying the podcast. If you really like it, hit subscribe, and then YouTube will notify you every time we have a bang up new guest. Thank you.